Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this little mini ghost. The materials that you're going to be needing is category 4 yarn in this white color or whatever category you prefer. If you end up using a thinner yarn, your ghost will become smaller. If you use a thicker yarn, then your ghost will be a little bigger. Along with that, I'm going to be using some safety eyes. If you don't have safety eyes, you can always use black yarn and a darning needle. Along with that, you're going to be needing a sewing needle, some scissors, and a hook. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook and some stuffing. With that all out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a magic ring. If you don't like the magic ring method, then you can always do a slip knot, a chain 2 and work into the first chain, or a slip knot, chain 4, slip stitch into the first stitch, and then work into the circle. But for me, I'm going to be doing a magic ring. And I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. For round number 1, I'm going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And because I did the magic ring method, I'm going to pull on the small strand of yarn to make the center loop closed. And to finish off, I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch that I made and chain 1. For round 2, the repeat is going to be 1 increase all the way around. So you're going to increase in each stitch all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. Once you have your 12 stitches, slip stitch into the very first stitch and chain 1. And now we're on to round number 3. The repeat for round number 3 is 1 single crochet and 1 increase all the way around until you get to the very end. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 18 stitches. Okay, I just finished round number 3 and I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. For the next 6 rounds, we're just going to do continuous rounds of single crochet stitches. So no more increases or anything like that. For the next 6 rounds, we're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. At the end of every single round, we're going to slip stitch and chain 1 and repeat, keeping a stitch count of 18 for each and every row. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my 6 rows of single crochet stitches off camera, and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished my 6 rows of single crochet stitches, and in the entire pattern, we're on row 9. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off with a slip stitch and a chain 1, and I'm going to loosen up my yarn a little so we can go ahead and attach our eyes. You can attach your eyes wherever you'd prefer. Where I'm going to attach them is, this is where we just pulled our yarn, and I'm going to consider this the back side of our work, so the back side of our ghost. I'm going to flip it over so I'm facing the front side. So where our yarn is attached, that's in the back, and the part where no loose yarn is showing is the front. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and grab my safety eyes, and I'm going to place them between rows 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I'm going to put my little safety eye in between rows 5 and 6, and you can put them as far apart as you want. In my original piece, I have 1, 2, 3 stitches in between. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my other needle too, or my other safety eye, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put it into the 4th. Okay, that way I have 3 stitches in between. Okay, but again, you can do it however you'd like. And if you have yarn, all you have to do is attach your black yarn to your darning needle and start with inserting your needle through the inside of the work and going back and forth through 2 of the stitches so you get eyes on both sides. Okay, and then to finish off, you can just tie them in from the inside. But since we're using safety eyes, all I'm going to do is, because I've already put them where I need them to go, I'm just going to attach the backs of these to my safety eyes. Okay, there's one, and then for my second one as well. Okay, perfect. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the bottom of our ghost. So With the loose strands of yarn that you have that is attached to the center on the inside, you can just stuff that in. You don't really need to sew it in because we're going to stuff the ghost anyway. Also that way it's out of the way. So I've just attached my hook back onto my work, and now we're going to start working at the bottom of the ghost. So for this specific round, we're going to work into the back loops only, and the repeat is going to be 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all the way around in the back loops only. So in the back loop only, I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and now in the back loop only, I'm going to do a decrease. So insert your hook into the back loop, grab yarn, pull up. You have 2 loops on your hook, and I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into the second stitch in the back loop only. Grab yarn, pull up. The yarn that I just pulled up, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to pull it through the other 2. That is how I do a decrease. I'll show you again. In the back loop only, do a single crochet, and now we're doing a decrease. So in the back loop only, insert your hook, grab yarn, pull up. You have 2 loops on your hook. Take your hook and insert it into the back loop of the next stitch. Grab yarn, pull up. We have 3 loops on our hook. The yarn that we just pulled up right here, we're going to grab it and we're going to pull it through the other 2. Okay, go ahead and repeat the pattern of 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all the way around until you get to the very end. Be sure to work into the back loops only. Okay, and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. I just did my last decrease, and I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch and chain 1. Okay, and now we're going to loosen up our yarn one more time, and now it is the perfect time to stuff our ghost. Okay, I've just stuffed my little mini ghost, and now we're going to go ahead and continue on with our stitches. Okay, now for the rest of the rounds for the bottom part, we're going to work into the stitches regularly, so we're no longer working into just the back loop. Okay, so for the second round of the bottom of our ghost, we're just going to do continuous decreases. So we're just going to decrease all the way around. This time, instead of working into just the back loops, we're working into the entire stitch. Okay, at the end of this round, we should have a total of 6 stitches. Feel free to pause the video and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, I just finished off, and I'm gonna slip stitch as always to finish off my round and chain 1. And now I'm going to cut a long-ish strand of yarn so we can sew in the rest of the hole. Okay, make sure you chain 1 before you snip and pull. Now we're going to go ahead and grab our needle. I'm going to attach it to the yarn that we just snipped off. And now we're going to sew in back and forth. Okay, I'm only going to be inserting my hook into the front loops of the stitches. So each stitch, as it can be seen, is kind of like a V. So there's a stitch that is facing you, and there's a stitch behind it, or a loop. Okay, so there's one in the front and one in the back. Both of them make 1. We're only going to be working into the one that is facing forward. Okay, so the outer part, the outer loop. And what we're going to do is we are going to just go back and forth through those loops all the way around, kind of like a drawstring. And once it's all the way around, just pull on it. It should close the loop. And I'm just going to go ahead and go through a couple of stitches nearby. I'm going to pull my yarn through, but not all the way, leaving a little loop here. I'm going to bring my needle through that loop and pull so it is fastened off properly. Now all I'm going to do is go through my ghost into one of the side stitches of the body. Go through a couple of those stitches, make sure that it's fastened properly and it won't come undone. Then I'm going to remove my needle and snip off the excess yarn, making sure not to cut off our actual work. And now let's go ahead and move on to the little bumps of the ghost. So go ahead and grab your white yarn. I'm going to go ahead and start off with a slip knot, and we're going to attach it to our ghost. Okay, hold your ghost like this, so the flat part of the ghost is facing up and your ghost is basically upside down. So not like this, not where it would be when it's standing upright. It's going to be upside down like this. Okay, and now go ahead and find one of the stitches on the back side of your ghost this is where we fastened off and where our yarn was attached. I'm gonna just find one of the loops that is around that area. Or you can just find where the front of your ghost is, turn your work around, and just insert your hook into one of the stitches on the side. Where we're gonna insert our yarn, or our hook and our yarn, is the front loops of the stitches. Remember, for one of the rounds that we did at the bottom, we worked into the back loops only, leaving you with these little bumps in the front. That's what we're gonna be working into, okay? So I'm just gonna insert my hook into one of those bumps. I made a slip knot with my white yarn, and I'm just gonna bring that through that bump and chain 1 to attach it. And now into that same place where we attached our yarn, we're gonna do 3 single crochets, all in that one stitch. And then in the stitch right after, we're gonna slip stitch. And then in the stitch right after, we're gonna repeat it again, do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Into the next bump, slip stitch. Into the bump after, 3 single crochets. So the repeat is going to be, let me just go ahead and do my slip stitch. The repeat is going to be 3 single crochets into the first stitch, a slip stitch into the second, 3 single crochets into the next bump, a slip stitch into the next. So we are interchanging between 3 single crochets in one bump and a slip stitch into the next one, and we're going to repeat that all the way around until we get to the end. I'm here at the end. I have 3 single crochets in one bump and one bump left here to work into. I'm gonna insert my hook, and I'm going to slip stitch, okay? And to finish off, I'm gonna go ahead and find the very first single crochet that I did in the first bump, and I'm gonna insert my hook into that stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch again. Then I'm going to chain 1 and then cut my yarn. And all that's left to do is tuck in your yarn. You can really just use your darning needle or your hook, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go ahead and take my hook. I'm gonna insert it through one of the side loops of the body part of the ghost, and I'm going to push my hook through a loop that's closest to where my yarn is attached, and then I can just grab it like so and then pull it through. Okay, you can do it that way a couple of times, or you can use your darning needle. And with your darning needle, you do the exact same thing. You just push it through. And I'm going to do that a couple of times for both of my loose strands of yarn. There's the first one, and now the second one. Okay. I'm going to just go through the little bumps first, and then I'm going to go ahead and go through the side of the body again. I'm going to go through it a couple of times as well. And then once I feel like both of them are fastened up properly, I'm going to snip off the excess yarn. And there I have my little mini ghost. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for anything that you would like to see in the future, let me know that as well. Also, if you have any suggestions on how I can improve my teaching technique, please let me know that as well, because I do take comments like that seriously, and I want to make sure that my videos are improved and easier to follow as I go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!